Okay, this is the final video, and I'm going to close it with some final thoughts. The first part of it is me just briefly addressing my final attempts to try and set up communication with my kids in accordance with the custody order that was in place. And after that, I have some final words. What you're seeing on the screen is the final custody order from 2000. I can't remember now if it's 13 or 15. I would have to check. But anyhow, it says, the father shall have telephone, email, and Skype contact with the children every Sunday evening by the telephone or Skype, and one other time during the week, as can be arranged in an email between the parents. Telephone or Skype on the holidays, email at any time. So that was what was supposed to be happening. Now, I can't make her do anything without paying money for a lawyer and going back to court over and over again. And you can force it. Like, there can be legal ramifications. She can get in trouble and be charged with something if she doesn't do it. But that's only if I can afford the lawyer to keep taking her back to court every so often within a certain window of time. And I just did not have the money to do that. I had to take her to court to get this child custody order put in. And it was part of when I went to court to remove the protection from abuse order that she put on me when I tried when I tried to visit you at school that one time. So I started to email her every day for 83 days in a row, and I would copy and paste the email and just update, like, this is the second time, this is the fifth time, this is the 63rd time. And as you can see on the screen, what it says is, Julie, I actually need your schedule. Yeah, because it was in response to her saying she needs my schedule. And I said, actually, this is an amended one that you're seeing in front of you. The original one was a little different, but it says, don't reprimand me that you told me something before in the past. I've told you 62, this is the 62nd day in a row that you're reading on screen, 62 times in a row that if you attempt to connect with me for a video chat, I need you to email me first in order for me to know that you're trying to call. Otherwise, I can't be expected to know when you're trying to call, and you still fail to do so. And make no mistake, your refusal to cooperate is being documented and will be used against you in court. Well, I tried, and I didn't have the money to keep going back to court. And the documentation is in these videos. Are you going to cruelly hold my kids hostage for me forever, or are you going to tell me your schedule so I can talk to my kids? This is my 68th. Actually, no, this is the 68th. So the 62 times is a copy and paste. This is the 68th attempt to communicate with you to schedule a video chat. If you attempt to connect with me for a video chat, I need you to email me in order for me to know you're trying to call. Otherwise, I can't be expected to know if you're trying to call. So that bottom part where it says this is my 68th attempt, that's what I would copy and paste every day. The top part was after she emailed me and what I interpreted as a reprimanded tone that I needed to give her my schedule, even though I had already given her my schedule. This next screen is where on the 10th, I gave her my schedule again. And again, this is I started emailing her on July 6th, and this is November 10th. 10 days later, it's on 10th. On the 14th, it was, 73 days in a row that I copied and pasted this email asking her to arrange for a chat. And she replied and said, let me know 48 hours in advance when you would like to talk with the kids. So that was on the 27th. Actually, I might be getting confused here, but on the 27th, that was 10 days later that she asked for a 48-hour notice. And that was the last I heard from her. And here on the screen, you can see, like, every day in a row, I would copy and paste and send it. This is the 77th, 78th, 79th, 80th. And then on 83 times in a row, I just gave up because obviously she was just not cooperating. Why wasn't she cooperating? I don't know. I can't answer for her. I don't know if she didn't understand that she's required to follow the child custody order, or if she just did not care and she was deliberately withholding you from me, because that's what it certainly looks like. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to give her an excuse that her learning disabilities caused her to just not understand how to cooperate with the order and what it means. It's not a suggestion, and not understand what she's doing to you guys and to me by alienating us from each other. I don't know. I don't know why she made the rest of our lives into a war. I don't know. She won't communicate. Anyways, I wanted to just provide the evidence to show you I was trying. And yeah, I looked upset when I replied, well, yeah, she's withholding my kids from me. Like every day, this is my obsession. I need to be in relationship with my kids. So yeah, I deserve the right to be upset about that. Imagine how you would feel if you were me in that situation. And I wanted to close it with something I had already described in one of the last two videos, but I didn't go as in depth. And I think I actually should go more in depth because this matters. 2 years ago, one of my girlfriends came over and she brought psychedelic mushrooms. I asked her to. And psychedelic mushrooms, they're called psilocybin. I was researching all about them, and they are the most clinically effective way for people to get free of their addiction to heroin, tobacco, or anything. Heroin and tobacco are the most addictive addictions there are. And they've had more success with psychedelic mushroom therapy than any other drug or program or anything. And psychedelic mushrooms, what they do is, let's see if I can explain this in crayons. The way your brain thinks and remembers things, it's like you have, say, like a warehouse with 1 million drawers in it, and every memory, every bit of information, every thought, everything is in a little drawer. And your brain kind of has like a team of people that can go, they're constantly going around and pulling out files and connecting them really super fast to help you remember things and process information in just regular daily brain activity. But what psilocybin does is it kind of like the more intense of a dose you have, it's almost like all these drawers, instead of being all in their proper place, they're all brought right in front of each other, and the way they're supposed to connect, like you're supposed to connect A with B, then C, and then that produces the memory or the thought. Like the psilocybin kind of like takes away those pathways and creates new, bigger pathways where a lot more information can connect and move around. And that's what causes hallucinations, like visual hallucinations and other kinds, but it also can open up emotions. And this is how it heals people from addiction, because addiction means you have hard pathways of like you feel a need, and then it's almost like a super highway, like the need is satisfied through nicotine or tobacco or whatever. And when you do the mushrooms, that super highway kind of gets leveled out like a football field where you erase that hard pathway. That same thing works with depression. And then you can very carefully kind of like rewire the way your brain's working so that the power of the addictive impulse erodes away if you're very careful and you do it right. And the way they do this therapy is with a certified, qualified therapist leading you through sessions with certain amounts of doses of psilocybin. And you have to cooperate with it to possibly have an effective outcome. So yeah, I had researched all of this stuff, and I thought, I need to do that. I need to, because I have severe depression and I'm dealing with all the trauma from all of this. So she did, a small, enjoyable dose, but I did a very potent, strong dose. And when I did that, I don't know if you've ever heard of a shamanic spirit quest from the Native Americans, because they would take psilocybin and other things, or a lot of ancient religions, a lot of Eastern religions, a lot of tribal religions do these things, and they might call it a spirit quest or a shamanic journey, or going to the other side, encountering the spirits of your ancestors, or encountering your God or deity or super powerful aliens, or in the occult, Aleister Crowley called it, you encounter your holy guardian angel, which is your higher self, or all of that is mumbo jumbo. There's nobody that you can encounter except for yourself. I mean, you're going into your own mind, so this is all your own mind. And when I did that, I without a choice, I went somewhere. I'm thinking deep within my mind, and somebody was there. You could call it a God, but it was me. It was my subconscious. And my subconscious, brought me right back to when I would abuse you guys. And it was like I could feel how you felt. And she was saying to me, don't talk, don't explain yourself. You have nothing to say. You need to feel how you made them feel. And you need to see their perspective as little children, how they viewed all of this, and how you made them feel. And I could feel it. And this was 12, 13 years later. I never really realized how much I hurt you guys until then. And it didn't help my depression. It made it a lot worse. And it triggered complex PTSD and intrusive thoughts a lot more since then. For example, if I go to see a Marvel movie and a superhero gets knocked out, I'll just start crying and leave the room a lot of the time. And you're not supposed to cry at stuff like that, but anything traumatic or mildly emotional just brings me right back to this place. And I've been wanting to, and I can't do mushrooms after that. I took a little bit one time. It just made me extremely emotional. So, and mushrooms aren't addictive. I used it as a tool. So it makes me wonder, is there something wrong with me? Why didn't my fatherly instinct realize I was hurting my kids? I don't know. I can just say maybe because of my autistic thinking, taking things so literally, I was brainwashed by a cult. And the cult was my version of Christianity. And it controlled my behavior. It controlled my thinking a lot. And that is why I did those things. It wasn't because I think that I should hurt my kids. It was because I thought I was doing the will of a loving God. And this was the only way to love my kids and have them turn out right. Yeah, I know that's very fucked up. I see that now. But at the time, I was literally obsessed with this God that I thought would speak to me in my mind and through the Bible. And I really can't explain why it took up until taking mushrooms for all that to sink in. And it changed me after that. It made me think, like when I visited you guys and we were out for dinner and I started to tell you the story about my dog and how the man brought the dog into my girlfriend's bar and he said, if the dog ever doesn't obey you, just hit it. And he hit the dog. And then she said, oh, I'll take the dog home. And she took him home. She took my dog home. And when I got home from work, I walked in the house and the dog looked at me and barked once and ran into the bathroom and pooped all like instantly. And she was terrified of me for a long time. And I had to teach her how to walk on a leash. She didn't understand how to go for a car ride. But after a while, she bonded with me only. But she was still terrified of all men. And when she would see your grandpa had osteoporosis, so he was hunched over, and he's 6'4", broad-shouldered, hunched over. And for a dog, if you're a big, tall man hunched over, that looks like you're in a fighting stance. And she was terrified of grandpa. And it took her 7 years to warm up to him. And I don't know if it was because at the end he was in a wheelchair, so he couldn't stand up and look intimidating. But she warmed up to him, and now she's okay with all men, as long as I'm okay with them. Like, she'll walk up and give her dog version of a dog smile and maybe wag her tail once and then come back by me. She does that to women too. But I've said all that to say, I looked at it as therapy, the way I treated my dog. Like, she was kind of like my daughter, and I didn't use corporal punishment with her. Like when I was a kid, I had a wiener dog, and I spanked the living crap out of that dog every time he did something wrong, like poop or pee in the house, try to bite somebody, whatever. And, the dog was very cool with me, but now I look back and I was like, that was very abusive, and it was ineffectual. That's not how you train a dog and teach a dog. And yeah, since then, I bought books and read about dogs, and then when I got Minnie, her name was Wilma Jean, which sounded like a trailer park hooker, so I changed her name to Minnie. And when I got her, that was kind of like my therapy, but it's not like it's healed me. It just proved to myself, look, I can be trusted with animals and children, and there's nothing in me that makes me want to hit them. And I will say that there was one time I got violent with my dog, and I was driving 4.5 hours journey. She was in the car, and we drove over these bumps in the road that go to alert you to slow down because you're going to stop. And for some reason that triggered her, and she lost it. And she started climbing up into my lap and trying to get into the windshield, like to hide. And I'm driving on the highway, so I was pushing her, I was hitting her, slapping her, and I started punching her with the back of my hand to push her into the back seat, like over and over and over, because she would not stop trying to climb. She was scared. So I finally was able to pull over as soon as I could, and then I tied her to the back seat so she couldn't do that again. But that's the only time I hit her. And you guys, your attention was after I told you I hit the dog. I could see, after I told you the man hit the dog, and Katie felt bad and took the dog home. Like your attention was distracted, so I didn't get to finish that part of the story. But I wanted to tell you that story, and I wanted to tell you all this. I'm sorry. I realize and I recognize how harmful I was to you. And I want to reiterate again, unrelated to that night when your mother and I split up, I did not at all I did not cover her mouth when she was breathing in air at all. I was very careful to make sure I did not do that. I was trying to protect us from the police and the Child Protective Services coming and ruining all of our lives. And when I grabbed the pillow, that was because I was thinking in the moment, she's going to bite my hand because she's going crazy. She's kicking the armoire, knocking stuff down, and violently struggling with me. And yeah, well, Dad, why were you getting on top of her? Because my stupid, rash, sudden, and spur of the moment decision, I have to stop this volume or the neighbors are going to call the cops. And remember, I did stand there and calmly talk and explain to her, you've got to lower the volume or I'm going to have to physically restrain you on the couch. Those are the words that I used. And she just kept screaming and yelling and screaming and yelling. And after the third time, I told her a fourth time, I'm going to physically restrain you on the couch now, not yelling. And that's when I did that. And because of that, me talking was not a high intense emotional thing. I don't know if she'll remember that part because I don't think she was paying attention. She was in full on what you would call your lateral prefrontal cortex of your brain, which is where you make rational decisions. That's basically shut down when you're in full emotions. You're in fight or flight mode. Your limbic system is operating, and that's when your memory is not operating. You're on protect myself or kill somebody or run, like that kind of thinking. And that's where she was at, because she was not in control of herself emotionally when that happened. I just want to reiterate that every time I can, that no, I'm not exaggerating or twisting or making up some complicated lie. I'm hoping that you guys can remember her going over and over again when I had her on the couch, which means she was freely breathing. And also, that's not how you kill somebody. I hate saying this, but you'd wrap your hands around their neck and squeeze. That's how you do it. It's not a pillow or your hand covering their mouth even. And I had the physical size and strength where that would have been easy for me to do if that's what I was trying to do. But I wasn't. So I'm closing all these videos with this. And I love you, and I hope that you can take this to heart. I can't ask you to forgive me. I can't ask you to promise this or that. I can just say I'm going to leave you with this. And I ask you to please have some kind of relationship with me. And again, I don't want to have to ever even mention any of this stuff or ever mention your mom. I don't want to. I got one life to live, and I don't want to use another minute of it mentioning her or any of this. I don't have confidence that she's going to watch these or watch them and have a change of heart and acknowledge her shortcomings, failures, mistakes, or her wrongdoing. I'm not expecting that, but I'm hoping that my own children can understand that I was brainwashed by a cult, and that doesn't excuse me, and I'm autistic, and that doesn't excuse me, but it explains the situation. And I now realize how wrong I was. I wasn't wrong for trying to kill your mom, because I didn't try to kill your mom. I was stupid for restraining her. Yes, I acknowledge that. But more importantly, I'm remorseful and sorry, and I am fully acknowledging how hard I was on you guys. And in the last video, I brought up the whole situation, how Julie and I had agreed that this is how we do things, and when I'm physically there, it's my responsibility. When I'm not there, it's her responsibility. And now I'm highly questioning what she even did when I wasn't around. I mean, I do know that she gave Eliyahu a black eye, right before we split up. And when I confronted her about it, she didn't show any signs of remorse. She just dug her heels in and pursed her lips. And yeah, I don't know what she was thinking or why. I'm thinking maybe she just thought, this is Adam versus me, so I gotta not apologize. I don't know if she realized, look, you hurt your son, and I don't think you meant to, but you need to own that. Otherwise, you're gonna hurt him emotionally even more by not apologizing and trying to acknowledge where you were wrong and change your behavior like I did. But again, I don't know if she comprehended the gravity of the situation or if she really just didn't care what she did. I don't know. That's on her. But please think about all this. And you have Eliyahu and Hannah have my phone number. My email address is my first and last name at Gmail. And these videos are your first initials in order of birth. That's what the name of this channel is, EHZT. So that you can remember in case you just don't care and you're not listening or you're not going to go back to this video or something. You can always remember that the name of the channel, I'm trying to pull it up, is EHZT VIG. So the first three initials of our last name. Please reach out to me if you feel so inclined. Thank you, and I love you.